hello.
He might have, you know what, Ken, there's a tab that says panelists. He may have been flipped.
Oh, I see, okay.
Recording in progress.
Good evening, and welcome to the September 3rd, 2025 Yarmouth Planning Board meeting. I am Joanne Crowley, Chair. The public is welcome to attend our meetings in person or via alternative public access provided on the Town of Yarmouth website. Our meetings are generally held on the first and third Wednesdays of the month, but additional meetings are added when needed. I will begin by taking roll call. Susan Britta.
Present.
Deirdre Gaquin.
Here.
Will Rubenstein.
Here.
Peter Slovak.
Here.
Ken Smith.
Here.
Joanne Crowley, present. Seeing that we have a quorum present, I'll now call the meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
He's back.
We have a pretty full agenda this evening. We'll begin with our local comprehensive plan, which we are ramping up for acceptance at town meeting, the special town meeting in the fall. In our packets, Kathy provided red line versions of public comments and others with updating changes from our last meeting. I'd just like to note that 2 action items have been added and 1 was removed. I think I have those numbers right, Kathy, from the last update, but we'll go through it as we do. 1 was removed as per the police chief.
Correct.
Yeah. And we also have comments that came in through the Energy Committee and Selectwoman Argo with regard to energy. And Kathy's going to go through some of these. She and I went over a lot of this today. And as you went through it, if you had a chance to pick up the red line version, most of it is a bit of editorial, I think, but important additions from the public in terms of language is important and adding in particular phrases and words. I don't think it's substantively changed anything at all. And in my own personal opinion, that the amount of public comment, which was good, but what was also obvious to me was that the document itself stood pretty strong, and I'm very pleased with that. So, Kathy, if you'd like to just walk us through the most important ones you think we need to go through, because these will be the edits that we put in the final that needs to get out for the public notice, right? Well, for the final public hearing.
Yeah, I'd like to have it, maybe you can talk very briefly about schedule, but I did talk to Jeff Bagg today, and I'm kind of hoping that we can come to some general consensus tonight with regard to any changes, and then maybe the board can just say, Joanne, myself, and Jeff will finalize it. I'd really like to get it on the website before I advertise it. So we would be a little like a day late, and or 2 days late, and I don't like that. So Jeff indicated that, you know, if we provide him with some of the red line edits and the results of this meeting, he could have us a draft hopefully by the 12th, no latest than the 15th. We can take a quick look at it, and if everything looks good, we'll post it, and it will be advertised on the 17th and the 24th in preparation for the October 1st public hearing. And then we can do a lot of public advertising and publicity for it as well, and people will be able to go to the website and see the latest and greatest version. So hopefully we'll get there tonight. This is one thing that's not incorporated into the notice from Liz Argo. She provided some comments, energy-related comments that we can go through kind of maybe at the end. I tried to incorporate all the other comments in here. I don't really know how much you can really see all of this, but just the table of contents, the things that we talked about, expanding the table of contents, putting the abbreviations in the glossary in the appendix, moving that Chapter 6 targeted action plans to right after Chapter 3 existing conditions, which the commission was fine with, including that draft September 2025 on the front so that we can distinguish between the current draft that we have. Just some minor edits. I did have some comments on the maps. I thought some of them, like the water resources one, was really hard to read because it had the aerial in the back, and
Yeah.
it was so dark. So they're going to try and do more line work with some labels on that in order to address that. The next one really had to do with the Yarmouth snapshot. I think this was the place where Liz Argo wanted to insert some information with regard to how much savings we have had with our solar, and we can talk about that when we talk about her additional comments. One other thing in the vision here is, the Energy Committee really wanted to expand the vision to include things about energy sustainability. I think we could make a very simple modification to the vision and just say, instead of saying the importance of clean, healthy environment, we can say importance of a clean, healthy, sustainable environment. And then it will address, sustainable is probably a good word to have in our vision statement. So if everyone's okay with that, we can make that change.
Sure. Yeah.
And then it follows through, I'm sorry, you can't really see any of this, but it follows through in the growth policy at the very end, the last sentence there. As our community grows and evolves, the town needs to ensure the protection of historic and cultural resources, promote resiliency and sustainability, and steward our valuable water and environmental resources. So it's just adding that extra word in there, I think, makes some sense.
Can I ask a question, Madam Chair, before we get too much farther down the road? I'm sorry, I should have mentioned it, about the table of contents.
Sure.
Is there going to be any more
Yeah, we're going to elaborate.
detail? So we're going to go natural systems, built systems, community systems in the
expand the
table of contents?
to include all those subheadings.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Definitely.
Got
Yeah.
it. I just wanted to circle back to
Yeah,
that.
I think
Thank you.
that would make people understand a lot better how it's all laid out and where to go for what
In
they're
addition to the swapping of the
Oh, definitely.
action
Yep.
plan. Okay, thank you,
It's
Madam
all in
Chair.
that comment there, that first
Thank you.
thing. Yep, no, good question. So I'm going to add the and sustainability unless I hear otherwise from anyone.
Yep.
Existing conditions, one thing that I noticed is some of the actions were not just taken by the town, they were taken by the commission, they were taken by Mass DOT. So I just put in or regional and state entities so that we know that. When I was going through the original draft, the water resources title is the same font size as the main body. So I feel like it should be bolder and stand out, so maybe a bigger font for that, so that it's really the heading kind of sticks out with you a little bit more. So that's just a simple comment there. But getting back to, on the next page, on the recent actions, do we really need to even say by the town or by anybody? We can just say recent actions related to wastewater.
Agreed.
Okay.
Kathy, I'd like to also make a comment. Whenever we refer to the comprehensive wastewater management plan in the action items, I think we list that as an acronym. But as we go through the action items, I went through them, we refer to it a couple of different ways. The town wastewater program.
Okay.
The Yarmouth wastewater program. Why don't we just use CWMP
Comprehensive wastewater management plan.
and have it, we've got it here identified. And I marked my copy up, Kathy, so I can give it to you.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay. Simple edit. The open space and rec plan was in 2023. The next page, we have that great map that I think the BSC group did, and we just were hoping that maybe we could get that in landscape so that we can read it a little bit better. Sometimes the white text is hard to read too, so they might have to do something a little extra there. But we try to make that more readable because it's a great map.
And you're thinking that would be a single page?
I would think it would be a single,
yeah.
just landscape. Yeah.
Yeah.
So energy, obviously, there's a lot to talk about with what Liz had, but I think maybe we can talk a little bit about just what the Energy Committee had. So they provided a very nice comment letter to us, kind of outlining how they feel like talking about their vision, a lot of talking about sustainability and secure energy, and then also their mission to really improve sustainability throughout the entire town of Yarmouth. And then they talk about the difference between goals and objectives. And basically, I think their main crux of their, in addition to the, adding something reference to sustainability, really comes from their interest in adding performance standards. And I'm sorry, you probably can't read this very well. It's really not very clear unless you look at it online. But what they did is they took our actions, all of our different actions that we had for energy, and then they tried to put in some different performance standards. We don't have any performance standards in here. I think we're going to be addressing our progress through those annual reviews. We just don't want to set ourselves up to fail. Oh, you didn't meet that performance standard, but oh, wait a minute, but you did make really good progress. So we're trying to keep it more positive and a little bit less punitive maybe in the LCP. So alls I ended up doing for that is I let the Energy Committee, kind of promoted the Energy Committee to do that. So basically, one of the comments had to do with the fact that Liz Argo mentioned that the Energy Committee's 5-year vision was old. It was 2021. So they are working on a new one. They've just kind of reconstituted the committee. They've had a couple meetings already when they hadn't met for probably like a year or so. So then basically saying the Energy Committee is currently working on updating their 5-year vision and identify strategies to create a town powered by clean, affordable, and secure energy. When we get to the action item, you'll see where I added in talking about strategies. So those are just, we'll come back to this section unless you want to talk about Liz's now. Do you want to?
Well, I think we can talk about Liz now, because I think it'll be an easy discussion if we do it right now.
Okay, perfect.
Because I've gone through it with you, Kathy, and members of the board, you may have only seen this for the first time now. It looks like the red lines are extensive. They're not.
Move some
With
stuff
all due
around.
respect to Selectwoman Argo, her ability to redline and edit is as good as mine, which is awful. So most of this is in the plan.
Right.
So it
It's
looks
been
like it's
moved around.
redlined, but it's really not. It's actually in the plan. I think the most important element is that, if I may, Kathy, this next paragraph on page 51, my sense is she wants to move that to existing conditions. As I read through her comments,
Oh, the green communities?
yeah, the
Yeah.
green, she repeated that for word.
Yep.
And I'm looking at it saying, she just wants to move that to existing conditions.
Yep.
Does that seem
That's what
okay?
Yeah.
Deirdre, is that how you
that's what,
took a look at it?
she
Yeah.
deleted and moved it, actually, you can see.
First paragraph's kind of already in there,
In
just
there,
in a different
yeah.
location.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether she wanted to move it all there so that the next paragraph made sense. These efforts
Right.
achieved an electric usage reduction.
Moved it around. Did the hokey.
Otherwise, I didn't know why she moved them around.
I'm not going to take it.
All right, so let's see how we're reading.
No, it's right there. It's on the top.
But
Oh.
everybody else has yellow on, this
Oh.
one I printed at home.
I just highlighted that because it talks about the solar wolf stuff, which I don't really think we necessarily want to be highlighting.
But the one that I had, because it
I
showed,
just forwarded it to, yeah.
and it showed the blue that she took out, and, so it was, whatever.
So that's the one piece, I think, as I went through it, that really needs an adjustment.
Yeah.
Other than, I think we do not, well, I agree with Kathy, we do not want to talk about the solar wolf energy issue. It's a bit behind us, and it really wasn't a town issue per se, although it was. It was more between the contractor and the individuals. And I think in general, her comments have been incorporated in most of what we have. As I said to Kathy today on the phone when we were talking, I'm reluctant on the first page of her comments to include metrics that I'm not familiar with, first of all, and secondly, I'm not sure it makes the plan more informative. But this could be something that could be incorporated perhaps as they work through action items. in terms of performance measures. You know, did we save money or didn't we? And the saving of the money is 9 years hence. Doesn't happen until 2034. So I don't think the plan needs to jump into the 9th year of its existence right now.
So that paragraph here about the much of the financial benefit, that's a very detailed,
Right.
And
Yeah.
It's too detailed for the comprehensive plan, I think.
And I think there needs to be some attribution as to where the calculations came from,
Absolutely.
There's no source
Yeah.
for the
and
numbers.
who said what,
Source.
how
No source at
these
all.
numbers were arrived at. I know she's very hot on this subject, which is okay.
Yeah, passionate, Madam
but
Chair.
Passionate, thank you. So that would be my recommendation in terms of most of what she talks about on the first page of her note to us. I would like to know, you know, she offered to, if we can get the electric usage reduction. I don't, as a fact, Kathy, I think you had mentioned that.
it's nice to know that we're saving based on, with all our different solar. And I think that's what she was trying to show here, is these are the different solar sources that were identified. And CVEC gave some website information. There's, I don't know what the estimate means. And then we're looking at numbers from, I don't know, 2017. It's just a function of maybe we don't need all of this, because we kind of talk about all these different solar projects already on the next page. The town owns multiple sites, which you crossed out, which I would like to keep in.
And are there, just for consistency purposes, Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes.
Are there other sections of our LCP where we're going into this level of detail?
No.
And again, that's not, that doesn't disparage the facts, but I don't think it's consistent with how the rest of the LCP is put together. That doesn't mean that this isn't important information, obviously. And through our friends at the Energy Committee, I'm sure there'll be other ways to make the town aware of these important kinds of more granular results without having to put it in a document that's playing a little higher off the ground. Does that
Yeah,
make?
yeah. You know, I've used the 10,000-foot flyover example.
Yeah.
Maybe we're at 5,000 feet, but again, when Kathy and I talked about it from her perspective, it seemed a bit too detailed, but important, and probably useful information for the Energy Committee as they move forward.
There's also one other small redundancy, Madam Chair, on the second page, if you're done with the first page,
Yeah.
after the chart.
Yep.
I believe it refers to Martha's Vineyard and Dukes County, and I believe they're the same.
Except for Cuddy Hunk.
Okay, well, I won't tell anybody if you won't, Deirdre. But I believe you can just say Cape
You could
Cod.
actually say Nantucket because it's a county, a town,
And
and a,
you could say Barnstable.
Confused, Madam Chair. I think
Town
there's a
and a-
little bit of redundancy
County,
in there. I just
yeah.
can't remember exactly how.
Except for Dukes and Nantucket, but
right.
but I thought, could all of this money discussion be distilled to a sentence that the Energy Committee estimates that it saves us $378,000 per year, or some kind of.
I just don't know what the source is. 'Cause I don't think it's the Energy Committee. I think it's Liz Argo summarizing them, and I don't,
So
I
it's-
guess
yeah.
that's the question of, what do we say is the source of this information?
We don't have a
We don't
source.
have anything.
Well, she compiled it, maybe she can provide some
May
more
ask her.
detailed information, exactly, on where that.
According to the blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Right, but.
Probably bills.
But my concern is the clock is running, and does that information make this a better document?
No.
No.
I would only argue, Madam Chair, that if it's something that you could share a reasonable deadline on, if Kathy communicates to the select woman, that, can you give us this answer in 24 hours? Because we're trying to post the document for public notice.
We can leave it blank now and send it to Jeff, and then he's got a lot of other things he's working on, and then we can fill that in. But I guess my inclination would be to talk about, on the next page, all of these sites and solar panels and whatever, and then at the end of that, just say, the town is estimated saving approximately $700 or $378,000 annually by and then one sentence. So I think the information that we were looking for, what I thought we were going to be getting is information on the net savings that we get from solar, which she's provided here, we just need to confirm it. And then I thought there was more information on a new solar initiative, but I'm assuming that is, and I'm afraid I did not have a chance, I've been in meetings all day to talk to Liz. She's more than open to have a conversation about all of this. But
What did you refer to it as? Smooth? You said something solar, and that word just
She said
escaped
there was
me.
some new solar initiatives,
New,
there incentives or something that were coming in December. And the only thing that she added in had to do with this, the state's goal articulated in an act creating a next generation roadmap for Massachusetts climate policy and the Massachusetts Clean Energy and Climate Plan, blah, blah, blah. Pivoted the focus from energy reduction to greenhouse gas reduction, the climate leader community certification program evolving from the Green Communities program creates a new voluntary framework for towns for meeting these goals by providing tools and resources to help municipalities reduce emissions by electrifying non-electric energy uses and maximizing the efficiency of buildings and transportation. The Yarmouth Select Board is currently reviewing the benefits in becoming a climate leadership community. If you guys wanted to keep this in, I would make that last sentence the first sentence, because it's under recent action, so at least
do we want-
bring it to,
But do we want to keep it in?
yeah, it's up to you guys. If it is truly something that they're looking at,
And it's,
Well, one option could be that that would be an action item.
but it's, the second sentence is the state's goal. So we'd be promoting the state's goal as opposed to what Yarmouth wants to do. I like the sentence, Yarmouth Select Board is currently reviewing benefits in becoming a climate leader. But then if you put that at the beginning, the second sentence would be the state's goal is articulated. So we jump from the Board of Selectmen to the state,
you could just get rid of the first sentence altogether. Just say.
which is
towns
4
look-
lines long.
Just, the Yarmouth Select Board is currently reviewing the benefits of becoming a climate leader community. This certification program evolving from the Green Communities creates a new voluntary framework for towns by meeting these goals by providing tools and resources to help. This is almost informational,
Yeah.
too.
Right.
I don't want to
I don't think it's necessary to be candid with you, so
Yeah.
I think it's all great information. I don't think it changes this document one bit.
And to me, just on a practical level, one of the most important things in this entire section is the last sentence. In 2025, the town of Yarmouth was awarded a 3-year grant to hire a part-time municipal energy manager to lead efforts to reduce energy use and cut carbon emissions. I mean, that is exciting stuff. So, because it practically says to the town and the townspeople, like, and there's going to be a dedicated person, at least on a 3-year part-time basis, to trying to execute on this on behalf of the Energy Committee as well. That's exciting stuff, because it's very exciting to talk about, we're designated a green community, we're getting all these grants, it's all wonderful. But to hear that there's actually money allocated in terms of humans, town resources and human beings to execute on it is a pretty big deal. So I wouldn't want that to get lost either. Because I don't know about you, but when I was reading all this, I was like, well, who's going to do all this stuff?
Well, yeah,
And of course, the
we
Energy
do
Committee,
mention it, yep.
it was a terrific memo. It's very clear there are a lot of people on the volunteer side who are ready to roll, and clearly Selectwoman Argo as well. But now to have this person, and I don't know, Kathy, if there's been any progress in actually hiring this person.
I think they're having trouble finding someone for a part-time position who's qualified.
Right.
So there's been some discussions, is this something that we need to make a full-time position and expand it to other things?
Maybe we
to
could
try
just
and-
forget about the last 62 seconds of what I said. But,
No, it's-
the idea, though, is that it is
Someone retired, there could be a retirement.
said. That's exactly what I said.
The retirement talent in the town is awesome.
sure.
Could be someone, there could be someone that's retired that would be interested in that as a part-time position.
Great
We
resources,
have awesome, we
obviously.
have awesome talent bank.
So I'm unclear. What do I say? What do I do?
Thank you.
You thank her for is what you
Hoping for You
do.
to tell us no. I think less is more, and what Susan was also saying about not regurgitating state goals in a local comprehensive plan, I think is a point well taken,
And
Madam
actually,
Chair.
and I agree with you, I think the comment about hiring someone is going to capture more attention than a sentence that goes on for 4 lines that talks about, Massachusetts Clean Energy, Climate Plan, blah, 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 blah. What will capture people's attention is we're actually going to hire someone to do this.
And I think that anybody reading this who is as passionate about these issues, just like every other section in this document, there are committees. There's ways for you to get involved. And it could spark people to, clearly based on the memo we got from the current chair, seems like a very well thought out and very excited group of people. And hopefully that'll then build some momentum to find someone to actually to be hired for this position.
So did you want to orient things? Do you want to keep in the reference to the energy conservation page? I love me a link. The link is a little old, too, but that's
Are
my
we
only
deciding
comment.
what to do with this two-pager? Is that what the decision is?
Yes. Yeah, the 3 pages here. Again, a lot of it is moving stuff around.
Yeah.
Right.
The very first paragraph is already in there. She just pulled it from a different place.
And this would go where? Right at the beginning of our, where would this go? Where on page 51 would it start?
I think she was starting it, hang on one sec.
She started after the first sentence,
Right, on this,
Just rewrote
on,
everything.
on page 50.
Yeah.
thank you. Right here. The town spends more than a minute to alleviate, yeah,
So-
so right here she would start.
That seems like a reasonable move.
I still want to include all of these listings of these buildings and everything, that
Yeah.
have solar.
Yeah, yeah.
And then at the end of that might be a good place to, so I'll move this paragraph, these paragraphs over.
Right, the paragraph that's on 51 will move to 50.
Yep. And then I'll leave in the paragraph that she erased at the top of her second page, and then I'll just, that mentions all the solar, and then we can add in, the town estimates savings of approximately, and we can just say the town.
Yeah.
Because she is the town, of $380,000, you know, I can put that paragraph in there at the end of that. So nothing on the town hall.
I don't think that adds anything to this.
And then the solar, every time I read solar systems, I kept thinking of the solar system.
Yeah, right.
So, I'm sorry. Oof. Can't get around here. So this we're going to keep in. So were we going to talk, are we keeping it, so we're going to get rid of the second, the third, and the fourth paragraph?
On which page?
On the first page.
On
I
her
thought you
document.
I thought you did.
Her
On her
document, okay,
document.
yeah.
Sorry.
We don't need the
The
second.
third paragraph is already in there somewhere,
Yes, because,
in recent actions.
yes.
What third?
In addition, recognizing the
right.
benefits of renewable energy, Yarmouth was the first town. That's in there already.
Is it? Oh, I didn't even realize
On
that.
51, Yarmouth became the first town.
What page is that?
Oh, no,
on?
I'm looking at something different. Let's see.
So did we want to move it here? Fine, I'm fine. So keep that? So the second paragraph right here, these efforts achieved in elect, do you want to keep that in? She doesn't have that statistic.
Yeah, we don't need that.
We're going to keep the third one in.
Yes.
But you said you like a link. I mean, there is a link right there.
It's just,
Yeah.
that's why,
Yeah.
it's just a little old
I haven't clicked on
information,
it.
but we can
Ah.
certainly add that link in somewhere.
Sure.
So I'll say add in
How
link.
old? Yeah,
I know
'cause-
that there's other things that we've done. I think there's some stuff from 2008.
Is that how old it is, 2008?
Well, it's one way to find out.
So, I mean, it doesn't even talk about some of, I mean, it talks about the solar panels on the town hall, but it doesn't talk about them in other locations. And then they have this summary down here of energy savings results, and this is 2007 and 2008. I
Yeah.
don't know why that's
I
there.
would not include it if
time
it's
ago.
that old.
Too long ago to be relevant. It's over a decade
I got
ago.
excited by a link, Ken, I'm
I
sorry.
got excited by a link too.
Nothing to apologize
It's
for.
also true that it's incumbent upon commissions and committees, when there is no town staff, to try to help the town update the website.
Right.
And in this case, they haven't hired that new manager yet. Renewable energy.
All right, the next paragraph, much of the financial benefit, I don't think we need that. It's historic, and it's interesting, but the comprehensive plan is supposed to be forward-looking. This is historic and educational almost. It talks about what happened, but
So we're taking that out?
I don't think, well, I wouldn't use it. I don't
The
think.
section is called recent actions.
This is the beginning part. This isn't recent actions.
This isn't recent
is like
action.
the
I'm so
initial
sorry.
existing
We're still
conditions.
on-
We're
Adding
still
to
on the left
page
side.
50,
We're
yeah.
still on page 50.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Got it.
I just don't know if that makes it a better document.
I just don't, I'm, again, it's more detail, I think, the paragraph
Necessary.
beginning with much of, the chart below, I think,
Yeah. Then when we do
I'm
another
uncomfortable
section.
with adding that.
Too long for the report.
It would be nice, though, if there was a place to direct folks to learn more,
Yeah.
like this, Madam Chair, right? To learn more of these more closer to the ground details. It just sounds like there isn't a place on the town website
not-
for that information to live currently.
Energy Committee is the one group that I never got in touch with. I'd reached out to them many times and sent a questionnaire and never heard anything back until now. So I don't know a lot about energy. Like, I met with the recycling and solid waste, and I learned a lot of information. It was very interesting. But I don't have a background at all in any of this energy stuff. So there might be something out there.
You know what, they've had 4 months to send in the something. We're torturing ourselves now trying to fit this in. Some of it's all interesting, but it's not the right place. It's not the right document.
I mean, unless someone feels compelled to include it, I would suggest that we not.
Not include this paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think we've all decided we're not
Or
going to,
below, no.
Yeah, not do the chart below.
we're not going to do the chart, but we're going to try and keep this language in there and then maybe add the amount of money that's saved.
Yes, so one sentence.
Yeah.
And then I'll find out about Dukes County. And then I don't think we should talk about Solar Wolf. Do we want to talk about, I'm sorry, I keep going all over the place. Future renewable energy projects and review by the town of Yarmouth includes solar for the, I don't know anything about this.
Well,
Do we know that?
yeah, if you know, do you know that's a fact?
Yeah.
I thought there was some solar in the new DY intermediate in the school, but I can't honestly tell you if that's true.
I mean, I know the DPW building was, this is what kind of came about some of the discussions, because I know that they're solar ready, and they actually tried to get solar on there, but the credits made it not worth it to do it at that particular time, and I think that's when Liz had mentioned that there's a new program coming about, and that's what I was wondering, okay, what's that new program, so we can maybe, prepare ourselves for that, but I don't think it's,
And I think in the case of the school, which was opened probably, around the same time, if not a year or two before, or maybe just after the DPW building, I think the same thing was, the school is a sustainable school, but it isn't necessarily a solar-powered school. Those are two very different things.
Kathy, what is,
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I think you're right. I think to speculate on what could happen in the future in this
Speculation,
document is
yeah.
probably not wise, even though we all think this is a good idea. It's not the right home
Kathy,
for it.
what is the Parkers River Landing Hospitality
that's our
Building?
restroom.
Restroom.
Sounds much nicer when you say hospitality, Susan.
It does, absolutely.
Means so many things.
Hospitality.
Oh, no.
and
In that
yet- and it
context,
will.
it does.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we just don't, that's speculative. We don't know if that's a fact. I mean, I think we're being speculative on the numbers, quite frankly, because an anti-energy person's gonna get up and say, where did you get the number $472,000? And we're gonna say the town calculated,
Select board member Liz Argo.
okay, reference, Ray, colon,
She has some, I mean, this was her job, so,
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
she,
But this could also be the impetus for either, through the select board, to hire this nice person,
Right.
and/or reinvigorating the energy committee to update its website and, galvanize a whole bunch of stuff, I'm using technical terms, on multiple fronts, but not inside the LCP, Madam Chair.
I agree. So Kathy, moving along, I think that paragraph, future renewable, will strike as well. And then the balance of her comments are really realignment of where these sentences sit. We've already agreed that state goals
We're taking out that whole
Taking that out.
paragraph? The whole paragraph?
Yep.
All right.
That should take care of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Moving on. Town services, yeah, the police chief indicated that they have the triple redundancy now at the police station, so it's not a concern, and then it also isn't an action item anymore. Richard Simon from the Finance Committee just wanted a clarification that the grant program for the libraries is awarded by the Mass Board of Library Commissioners. So, I did that. So this kind of is kind of weird, the targeted action plan. This is exactly taken from the LCP template, and one of the last items is performance measures to assist in determining whether identification actions have been met or achieved their purpose. But then later in that document, it says performance measures are optional. And obviously, they didn't say that we needed to add performance measures because they've already reviewed it. So I just wanted to double check, and I sent an email to the commission can we just remove that bullet item? Because it just causes confusion, because we
Yes.
don't really have performance
It was
standards.
confusion at the Board of Selectmen over that, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think, I think we took it verbatim, but it doesn't necessarily have to include the performance standards. So that's what that's about. They're really good about getting back.
So we will strike that.
As long as there's, I can't imagine there'll be an issue with the commission, but
Okay.
yeah, I would strike it. So a lot of these changes, I think kind of, some of them go back to the edits that you had given me on July 30th, that we didn't have enough time to incorporate in, but just identify and obtain permits for additional effluent discharge. Because permit could be allow versus actually what we really want to do is get the actual permit. For water supply, I think we had talked about promote water conservation and protection to all residents, not just water customers. These are just, I underlined some stuff that wasn't underlined. The next page is, we talked about considering banning the use of herbicides, pesticides next to waterways and wetland resources. I'm just going to keep going unless you tell me to stop.
Yep.
Keep going.
Will do.
We'll keep up.
All right, open space, prioritize potential conservation restrictions or land acquisitions. Sometimes we can provide the benefits with just a CR without having to actually purchase it. This 4 and 5 came out of, I think, the edits from Joanne about print and disseminate maps of conservation properties and trails to continue to bring awareness, and then enforce appropriate and legal use of conservation areas versus the continue. Under design and land use, that first item, we had struck the extra adjectives, large scale and substantial, from that first action item. And then, where are we? This is one that came out of a comment. I think we had kind of talked about it, this is under transportation and connectivity. Evaluate the potential for undergrounding overhead utilities for roadway improvement projects on a project-by-project basis. I would really have liked to have gotten it done for the Route 6A village centers, but and we're getting a memo from VHB on what's involved in it. But it's just, I'm afraid it's going to like bog down something so it doesn't move forward, or it becomes so expensive that it bogs it down. So I think it's trying to balance it, looking at it and seeing whether it's something that might make sense. I'm really looking forward to the memo because I keep hearing that there's all these, like, when you connect to someone's house, if their electrical system isn't up to speed, you might have to upgrade, they might have to upgrade their electrical. And so all of a sudden you've increased the costs to these people who may not be anticipating it. I'm not sure, and that's why that memo from VHB will be very helpful. And 13, as feasible, it said, this was changed just to support the funding, design, and implementation of the Mass DOT Cape Cod Bridge Program to replace the Sagamore and Bourne bridges, and then just took out the and surrounding transportation network.
Maybe add an S at the end of bridge.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was right there with you, Madam Chair.
And then on 15, I would make it evaluate.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Oh, this is under mitigation energy. We kind of already talked about this, about we're not really including performance standards. But I did modify item number 3 to talk about and develop the Energy Committee's 5-year vision plan with objective strategies and performance measures.
That's,
They can do
And
it.
that's the language right from them.
They already have it. They already have it. They've got
Now
their
they're
work
updating
plan.
it.
Yeah, yeah, they got their work plan, so, and then number 7 is just evaluate this was another comment from the Energy Committee, was evaluate transitioning from gas-powered handheld equipment to battery-operated equipment such as leaf blowers and lawn mowers,
That's good.
so. And again, instead of continue, it's just support the efforts of the recycling and solid waste. And then number 5, it's the gatehouse at the transfer station, just that clarification.
So that would put someone out of work, correct?
No, it won't put anybody, somebody has to.
still got to have someone in.
Somebody's got to be there to stop the cars.
Is that, does that include the place
Will
further on
not-
down with the?
It will
with
not be the weigh
weigh-
station, just residential trash.
Okay, just residential,
It's already in the capital budget plan.
okay.
You didn't hear that from me.
No, but I just meant.
Yeah, the recycling
anybody would
solid
know,
waste
it'd be you,
committee wanted. Economy. Never ends on the economy. Number 7, we just had talked about promoting and promote local products. Number 9, we added in grayfield and brownfield properties with regard to different types of properties the Community Development Corporation might look at. Number 11, support the efforts instead of continue the efforts. And then this was a good idea, rewording item 12 from Joanne about evaluate how Yarmouth can apply the 2024-2029 Cape Cod Commission Comprehensive Economic Development Strategies to expand our economic development strategies. Because it was very convoluted to keep abreast of. That was like
Okay,
convoluted. And Mary Wagon did want us to include in the actual action item with an annual production goal of 62 affordable units. Tried to put that in before, and it just didn't get in. And this is develop capital and maintenance plans for municipal buildings. And then under public safety, this is where and actually the fire chief and I had a conversation, they're actually working on this right now, to develop an update of the comprehensive emergency management plan, which focuses on emergency operations for all hazards, natural and man-made. And then again, we got rid of that triple redundancy that was already completed. And then this was just a small edit and promote fitness programs at the senior center. They do a pretty good job with that. Looking forward to chair yoga in my older years.
Kathy, I have a couple of just editorial comments on this. I'll give them to you. The use of the word continue, I've kind of
Yeah, so support
cut
the
out. So
age-friendly.
it's collaborate, expand, I guess provide technology classes. And I would
Are we
move,
under senior serve? Where are we?
Number 6.
Yeah.
Senior and age-friendly.
your senior.
Oh, okay, so what did you say?
Number 2 would be collaborate.
No.
Number 3 would just be expand.
Yep.
Number 4 would be provide. And on number 5, I would move promote fitness programs to the beginning of that sentence
Okay.
and evaluate addition of exercise rooms.
Is it as as a comma?
Same
or-
bullet.
Okay.
Yeah.
But 2 separate sentences or one?
No, just
Promote
promote.
and
fitness pro-
evaluate.
yeah. So I can give this to you
Oh, thank you.
when we leave.
All right, I think that's it. And then the implementation matrix. Dun, dun, dun. Again, a lot of this was just truncating to make it simpler and easier to read as we go along. I think if people want the real details, they'll look in the targeted action plan. So, I don't know if you want me to go through all of them or whether everyone had a chance to look at them. And I will obviously correlate any edits we make to the verbiage and the action items will get correlated here as well. Do you want to go through them, or did you just?
Unless someone has some comments.
Is there a
on
reason
any-
why you struck the ones from Action 3 about future phases? I mean, that is literally what we're gonna do.
About what?
Sorry, page 132,
Yep.
action 3 under water resources. Is there, you just, less is more? Is that why you cut all that out?
This was a truncation from some edits from Joanne, so.
These action items are fully described
Yeah, in the.
in
In
the
thi-
body
right.
of the
Okay,
document.
got it. Then perfect.
I put in the
Then
2
yes.
to 8 because I know that that was like,
No, that needs to
Forrest
stay.
commented on.
No, that needs to stay. Now I understand the rest. Thank you, Madam.
So this is where, Kathy, I think if we were ever, and I know this could be tricky, but wherever we refer to the Yarmouth wastewater program generally,
Right.
I think it has an official name, the CWMP, and we can just use those.
Then make it in the
that acronym.
glossary, right, and put the
Yeah.
acronym in the glossary. In the appendix, sorry.
So those were my only comments on the
Right.
action items. And again, this is me, kind of trying to reduce
Got it.
some wordage here, because it's already covered
Yes.
in the body of the document.
Understood.
And Kathy reminded me, when I spoke with her today, that the items that are highlighted in gray are ones where, remind me again, that zoning bylaws.
Zoning bylaw or other regulatory bylaw changes.
Might
'Cause
come
you're
into
supposed to
play.
highlight those.
And then the ones in yellow are the ones that are new. And as I counted them, I think there were 2 new, and we eliminated 1.
Oh, yeah, the undergrounding and then the
Right.
the emergency plan. Yep. I think this will read much easier. People can look elsewhere for the details. There were some, the CHC was added into all the housing ones as Mary requested in that committee.
Oh, I see, added in as a responsible partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of CHC.
Yeah, and I had missed the planning board on some stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Okay.
No, you guys are involved in everything that's great. No, not everything, but pretty much.
I don't think I had any other,
All right,
I don't think I had any other.
pencils down.
Pencils down.
The apple is shiny. We're good. So Joanne,
Just one specific comment, because it sits outside of the wastewater program.
What
On the page 146,
uh-huh.
action 13. Again, I would just stop after sewer flows designated for new growth in the CWMP.
It's not in the CM.
Oh, it's not?
These are land use control regulations that sit outside.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you want to say the, oh, you're saying the 8 phase? Did you want to change that? I mean, the sewer program, that word, say the CH.
So the sewer allocation regulations are not part of the comprehensive waste water management program, or not? I'm just trying to use that acronym wherever we can.
No.
Okay.
No, but I think within the 8, designated new growth within the 8 phase CM.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes,
Okay, great.
yes.
Because that's a completely separate piece of work, essentially.
Right, the land use controls basically say, you have this amount of flow coming now, and you have your new build here, you have to stay within that amount. They don't tell you how to spend that extra amount of sewer flow, and that's where I think the sewer allocation, we need to keep track of, when people keep expanding, how much of that money, how much of that flow is being eaten up, so that we don't all of a sudden realize, oh, we gave all of our flow to phase 1 and 2, and phase 8 can't even do their existing conditions because we gave it all away. So we need to
Okay.
keep track of all of that in some fashion.
Okay.
Madam Chair, there is one other thing. You mentioned about libraries on page 151. In action 2, we have to refer to MBLC there and not MPLCP? Or is the initial grant from MPLCP, but the funding, construction money comes from MBLC?
Where is this?
The grant is awarded by the library commissioners.
Okay,
And I
that's
think you
fine.
just wanted to reference that.
In addition to their grant, but the next hunk of money is coming from the MBLC.
I think so.
Yep, okay.
Anything else on this?
A question, is the time frame when we should begin or when it should be completed?
Frame, it's a frame. It's a frame.
That's a good question. I think you'd want to start it within some of those times. Some of those you might finish in time. So like if it's 1 to 3 years, you may start it in the first year and get it done by the 3 years, but you want to be sure you started it by the 3rd year.
Unless it says ongoing.
Ongoing is ongoing.
I mean, because, you know, our grade time, our grade paragraph, the one that's community design and land use, we have 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 2 to 5, 3 to 6, and 2 to 5. It's just, so do we prioritize what we're going to be looking at in terms of which of those timeframes comes first?
We're supposed to have a conversation at some point, Madam Chair, that later
Well,
this
I
fall.
think, like,
about
if you
those
get on page 139, for example.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we talked about doing the architectural and site design standards, looking at our design standards earlier and first, because we want to make sure we're getting things the way we want it, but we also heard a lot of good feedback from developers. What can we do to get the general design that we would like to get without adding a ridiculous amount of additional cost? But our current design standards aren't clear, and they're only advisory for commercial development south of 6. They're not mandatory in any way. I think we need to be clear about that. Matakees, you know, that's something that we're going to have to look at sooner rather than later if we want to move forward with that. So that's why it's 1 to 3 years. Hopefully, it would be something that we would be completing in that time. The full rewrite, that's going to take a while. And then doing the growth incentive zone, that could be 3 to 6 years. And then the rules governing the subdivision of land. I don't think that's a heavy lift, but it's something that needs some concentrated time to do it. We're just antiquated. We're referencing, we don't even, everyone use HDPE pipe for drainage now. We have to say you have to use concrete or corrugated metal. What are we doing? So it just needs to be updated. And clarifications maybe on some of the fees and stuff like that that are in there for inspections and stuff.
But I think Peter brings up a very good point. If we were to grab all the grays, Peter,
You're going to be busy.
we grab all the grays that we're responsible for, and we, at some point, once this is approved, we focus on what we think are the priorities, as best we can. Some of them will be driven by others, but I think you raise a good point, and we can always adjust these things. It's not, we're not locked in, but I do think as you go through it, you see PB come up a lot, and there are a lot of grays, and we should probably just take a good look at the grays, the highlighted ones, and say, what do we think are the ones that we can tackle first? Maybe some low-hanging fruit, and then move forward. I think it's a really good comment.
Madam Chair, the simple question is, where did these timelines come from? Did we just,
They-
okay, fair enough.
Everything in this is just Kathy.
Yeah, I get it, 100%. I realize the guess, and maybe that's something that we should talk about.
Educated.
For example, like the GIZ, I mean, it expires in 2031.
That's right.
So we have to do something in that timeline, and I think we want to do something sooner. It's all going to be a function also of, obviously, we're going to need consultants, so we're going to need to get grant money. We also, hopefully, will have more horsepower. We have a new community development director. Maybe they'll hire a full-time person for the economic development. So all of that will help some of this as well as we move forward, like the growth incentive zone. Those guys could help on that.
Yep.
But these are all on my bucket list, my planner bucket list. I don't think I'll get to all
These
of them.
are,
List is never ending, Kathy.
it's also true, Madam Chair, we talked about it maybe a few meetings ago, that at some point later this fall, when we reorganize board, we did say we need to go up to 30,000 feet again as a group, to start to look ahead to the next thing that we have, or things that we have to chew on, and here they are.
Yeah.
We might have some money, I always follow the money. I think we have we might have like $40,000 for hiring a consultant to help us with the design standards. I think we can.
To help us with what, Kathy?
The design standards. I'd like someone to go comprehensively look through it and help us develop some design standards that are reasonable, that aren't overly onerous, but are kind of getting us the design that we're looking for. It's going to be a multi-step process. I don't think we can, I think we do need to look at a full rewrite, at least look at everything. We have all these recommendations from the mixed use. We have a whole bunch of different things that we specify in what we wanted to look at in the redoing of the zoning. So it's going to take a little while to figure that and pull the community along too. So that alone would be a big effort. I remember I was looking through all the old zoning bylaws, and they used to be like this, and they're like 3 pages, and now we're like this. And I also found a 1965 master plan for the town of Yarmouth, 18 by 24.
Less is more, as Jim
doing back
Saban likes
then.
to say.
Talk about that.
Less is more.
Yeah, less is more. So I think there's
okay.
So on this discussion, do we have a participant?
It's Jim.
Jim is an attendee, but I don't believe there's anybody else, Madam
No,
Chair.
but
And I don't know if he wants to unmute himself and contribute. If that's what you're.
Yeah, that's where I'm
Asking for.
going. If we've,
He is unmuted. That could be dangerous.
Mr. Saban, are you joining us?
Hello, Madam Chair. Believe it or not, I have nothing
Yay.
to add. You guys are
So
all
good
doing
to-
awesome without me.
Good to hear your voice.
And I'm enjoying the meeting tonight. Well done with the LCP, and keep up the good work. Nothing else to add.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Miss you.
So is it okay, the consensus of the board, that Joanne and I will finalize this, and you
Based
guys
on
don't
this-
need to see
based
it
on the red
again?
line here. Do you need a motion to push this forward?
I don't think so. No.
You guys agree by consensus, that's all I put.
Yes.
Are you okay with that?
Move it forward.
Please.
You're not a contentious board, we don't need to vote.
Not about this. I'm kidding.
Please move it forward.
Awesome.
Okay, so the second item on our agenda this evening are the draft zoning amendments. These are being posted and may already have been posted on the website today and on September 10th, announcing our September 17th public hearing.
Yeah.
And you'll note, I may have started at our last meeting, but these are now referred to as draft articles.
Yes.
And so I want to make that note. So we have 2 draft articles, one on retail sales of commercially caught live lobsters, and then one on boat storage that are in our packets this evening. Kathy, you want to just run us through quickly and
I don't think anything has really
changed?
other than anything that you guys had mentioned before. But yeah, this has been on the website for a while, and all the notifications, and it should have been, I meant to check, but it should have been in the paper today, and then next Wednesday in preparation for the 17th. And then I'll also do some publicity. I kind of gave them the heads up in the communications department that I'm going to need some help getting the word out about it.
This was really helpful to see it without the red line. Because it's a culmination of a lot of work and a lot of input from a lot of folks. And Madam Chair, I guess as I was thinking about the 17th, if we could, this is connected to the issue in front of us,
Absolutely.
is I think for a lot of folks, there's the whole, okay, this is all great, but when? So what I'm getting at is there a way for us to be prepared on the 17th as a board to share with folks that what we're talking about is an article at special town meeting that's going to happen in November, then there's going to be X number of days, then Y number of days. Like, I think people would like to know, and I'm sure Mr. Tolley would like to know, like, when is this actually going to become in effect? And I think it would be just, not frankly educational, but also just the right thing to do as a public service to help educate folks on the 17th, in addition to the conversation about the article, the draft article itself. But the practical bit of, well, then you better show up on November blankety blank, because then 100 days from there, and then when we get to 2026, Mr. Tolley will be able to X, Y, and Z. Do you understand my general point?
We can do that in like the next steps process.
I wasn't sure when, but I figured next in 2 weeks would be the right time to sort of, and the same thing with the boaters.
Slide, yeah.
Perfect, just the same thing with the boaters too, so that everybody that shows up here will be very passionate, I'm sure, in one direction mostly. But to also just have people leave with some practical, like, okay,
Yeah.
now I understand, we're way closer than we were practically, 10 months ago, 8 months ago.
I have Kathy's provided me a standard format for when we have public hearings on amendments. And we can just insert this particular dates and some approximate
Yeah, slide.
timeframes with review with the Attorney General and the like. So we can definitely do that. I think
Thank you.
that's, and I would review that at the beginning of the public hearing, no matter what.
And I'm assuming the select board is as interested in all of this as the public will be, in terms of they're also clearly want to recommend something and understanding the practical impact of all of this as opposed to the philosophical
I
one.
did make a request to be on the 7th of October, but I haven't heard back. Bob was on vacation last week, so,
Well-
remember, we're going to try and,
Yeah.
because they haven't seen
Right.
this boat version.
But Madam Chair, it ties into the fact that the second zoning article, when we get to it, has a timing component to it, but obviously you have to go to the zoning board of appeals first. So I assume that if someone was able to get a permit in the middle of, after April 1st, 2026, then they will be able to just immediately put their boat out in front, as opposed to if they, you know what I mean, those kinds of practical
Yeah,
things.
yeah, absolutely.
Typically, the zoning is effective on the date that it's approved. You ultimately need to get approval from the Attorney General, and if the Attorney General says, nope, then whatever you've done in between, it's almost like at risk. So you could go ahead and move forward, get a special permit, but then it's not active until, well, I guess it's active, but if you went ahead and did it, and then the Attorney General said, no, that's not legal, then you would spend all that money and time.
It's null and void.
Literally have to pull your boat
Well, it's null and
out of
void.
your front
Yeah.
driveway.
I can't imagine that Attorney General's going to have any issues with these particular zoning amendments. It's only,
Well, I just wasn't clear off the top of my head whether there was X number of days, because for a lot of permits and lots of hearings in our town, there's X number of days you have to wait until certain things can happen.
we have 30 days to make the formal submission to the Attorney General, and then they have 90 days before they have to get back to us. And then when we get it back, I think Mary Maslowski has to do some posting requirements.
So then mid-December, in essence, would be in effect if it was
I'm just saying
submitted.
that it's in effect at the date it was voted on November.
The 30, okay.
Yes,
Not to get
but,
it to them.
It could be revoked in 90
yes,
days.
thank you,
post-
thank you.
Post the 30,
120
right,
days when it-
120 days later, it could be revoked.
Okay,
Right.
unlikely.
I can confirm that with Mary Maslowski, but that's my understanding.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Madam Chair. I know we're slightly off subject, but it is related to the
Oh, yeah,
draft articles
absolutely.
themselves.
On this same subject, I will be attending the September 11th Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to just run through these. I think it's an important, polite thing to do, given that we're creating something that, in essence, is work for them. And so I'll be there, and Susan has, a former member of the ZBA is going to join me, so I'm looking forward to that. I will also add on the 11th, there's a petitioner who would like a variance related to an RV and where it's parked. So it could be an interesting meeting from that perspective,
Well, that actually
to be there.
That actually ties into the explanation that Kathy wrote. I actually wrote, the second sentence says, currently boat storage is allowed, and I actually wrote, currently boat and RV storage is allowed if located behind the front face, right? Because it's for camping and recreational
That
equipment.
is correct.
And
Currently
I think it's an
voting.
important place to kind of reinforce that. We're not making separate rules for boaters. This is the same, I mean, we are creating a separate rule for boater, but you can't say currently boat storage is allowed if located behind the front. I mean, it's not entirely accurate. It's RV and boat storage is allowed if located behind the front face of the building.
Yes, I think it's.
And maybe you didn't want me to bring that up, and I
No,
apologize if I did.
No, it's just that the explanation is related to the change.
I
not-
see.
Not, I just didn't want to confuse people
I
by
see.
saying recreation.
Well, then, and I don't,
vehicle.
that's the last thing I want to do,
The
but I,
explanation, yeah. Yeah, your point's well taken, it is.
all right.
Any other comments on zoning amendments?
Yeah, Madam Chair,
Yes,
can I just
Mr.
touch
Smith.
back, since we've talked about it before, just on a quick one, and I wanted to actually hear Susan's thoughts on it, being a former ZBA member. I still have an issue, right here, the very first sentence, is if a boat cannot be parked or stored at the rear, to the rear of the front of the line of the lot, and the bottom line, you go through the rest of which we all know, and then limiting the dates. Well, if they can't store it the rest of the year, but now you can let them park it out front for those April and November, I guess my question to you, are we putting an undue burden on ZBA for somebody in that particular example? And that's the petitioner who brought it to us in the very beginning.
What is it, what's the concern?
The concern is that the petitioner who brought this whole thing up
Right.
brought it to us because he has no place to store his boat on his small lot.
Correct.
So you're telling that person, here's the example, and I'm asking you from a ZBA perspective, and I know you can't answer for him, but I'm just asking for clarity, if there is any, is that we're gonna tell that person, well, fine, you can keep it April to November on your driveway, but you have no other place in the winter time to keep your boat, so go find a place to store it.
Right. That is what we discussed. Yeah, no, I think that was our intent. Remember, when we went to Board of Selectmen, I think it was Tracy that said, she doesn't want it anytime.
Yeah, I'm not here to worry about Tracy Post, so.
I think that was a reasonable compromise, because a lot of people don't want them at all. I thought the conversation was.
That's the comment we're gonna hear,
Yeah,
Madam
was-
Chair, next week. I'm sure we're gonna hear it.
Right, but the trade-off was, you now can park your boat virtual, in your driveway, whereas prior to this amendment, you couldn't at all. Now we're giving you at least 6 months, and then the other 6 months, you've got to go to a marina,
Fine.
because a lot of people don't want them at all. So,
A lot of people do.
yeah, that's true, that's true. And one of the things that I was actually gonna, I don't know if Mark has those statistics, how many people actually are in that situation? I just didn't, I think we asked, and I don't think we ever followed up on that, but I just don't know. But that was a very compelling case that the fellow brought forward. I don't know if he's
What
one.
day do you go into ZBA, Madam Chair?
The 11th.
Yeah,
The 11th?
I'm going to ask if you can get on the agenda.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to happen,
Okay.
but,
I think they have an open, I think like us, they have an open comment period.
yeah. I'd like to be on the,
really
actually
good.
on the agenda.
It's a really good thing.
Kathy suggested it be on the agenda. But if I can, Mr. Smith, at our last meeting,
Yeah.
when we decided to move this to ZBA.
Yep.
'cause
Which I have no problem with.
Yeah, we wanted to try, based on Susan's experience, I remember you saying clearly, the ZBA looks to the planning board to give some boundaries.
Yep.
It helps them give some boundaries. So as best we could, we outlined these boundaries. So that's kind of where we landed it. And yes, the boat owner would have to find another place after November 1st to store it. We'll see what the Zoning Board of Appeals says. I don't know of any petitioners who have come to them like the RV petitioner who's coming for boat store. I don't think so.
I don't remember seeing anything on an agenda.
And I don't remember seeing anything either, so we'll see.
I know they're pretty strict on RVs.
Yeah.
They are pretty strict.
They've
on
had
RVs.
previous
Yep.
hearings with RVs, and I can't recall any of
They're
them
pretty, especially if
that have
you
been
want.
looked favorably upon by a majority of the ZBA.
They give them some time to figure it out.
They give them
They give them some time to
And
figure
then
it
they have
out.
to come back, and then there's a,
Then the hammer comes down.
Madam Chair, can I ask one question, just anticipating questions in 2 weeks, because I think we're going to get a fair amount of them. Under the zoning Article 2, in the third bullet point, where it talks about parking in the driveway, the section where it says, without creating a traffic or fire safety issue, and adequate remaining on-site parking for the property can be demonstrated, I think it's fair to say, someone's going to ask us, who says it's a traffic or fire safety issue, and to whom do we have to prove that there's adequate remaining on-site parking? And I'm not saying I know the answer. I'm just saying I think people are going to ask that when they read this. They're going to want to know, like, who do I go to? Because this isn't a ZBA thing. It's more of a
Public safety.
parameters thing.
But can I
Or
just?
is it a ZBA?
Well, it could be. One thing they could do when the applicant files an application for the special permit with the zoning board could then say, either bring a plot plan or a site plan
see.
to show that there is adequate, the fire trucks, it's mainly fire trucks, and ambulances can get by.
Okay.
They can ask that, and so when you come forward with your application, you've got that information, and the board can then make a decision, it is
And
adequate.
they know that because we've outlined it, like you
Yes.
said, we've given the parameters of
So-
what
And then
we're,
they can determine what is adequate, and they can do that by the application, by
okay,
asking for
thank you.
that kind of information.
Thank
in
you.
the
I
application.
appreciate your insight as a former member. That's very
Let's see
helpful.
that, let's see if it happens again.
Very helpful. Well, thank you, Madam Chair.
Anything else on the zoning amendments? Moving on, we have it in front of us. We've asked questions at a couple of previous meetings, and the 40B comprehensive permit application for 897 Route 28, which is the site of the old laundromat. So here's the latest that we have from Kathy. She provided this documentation to us to give us an opportunity to review the application. We don't have any special permit granting authority here. It's just whether we would like to provide written comments to the ZBA ahead of their hearing on the 25th of September. Kathy, can you just give us a quick overview of it, and then remind us of some of the limitations, since this is a 40B application?
Yeah, this is not a local initiative one. This is, what should be called a friendly 40Bs. This is where they went and they got that letter of eligibility from the state that they want to enact. Hang on, I'm just going to get to the plans. So what they have done is, this is the former laundromat site. It's like 1.09 acres. It's not a very big site. It's on the corner of Route 28 and Pine Grove. There's residential zoning, or residential homes here, and then this is the Bass River Motel over here. They increase, I don't know if you remember what it was like before, but they've put a little more thought into the laying it out, where they've broken it down into 3 separate buildings, and then they have the parking to the side and to the rear of the buildings here, coming off of the same.
There's no access to 28, which is
No
a huge
access to
difference
28.
as well.
Right. There is none right now either. They basically are going with the same exact location coming off of Pine Grove that's there now to access the laundromat. I believe they have, there's 27 units. I'm not exactly sure of the breakdown. They do have to have some of them that are 3-bedroom units. They're providing 1.1 parking spaces per unit, so 30 spaces that they're providing. Obviously, with the Chapter 40B, they don't have to meet all of our, he's vacuuming in there. They don't have to meet all of our zoning. They ask for very specific waivers that they kind of go through in all of that. I think the key thing here with regard to the site, they did come before site plan review, which they weren't required to do, but they did. I don't believe they made any changes to the plans based on anybody's comments. Some of the comments that I had were, obviously, there's a lot of mature trees down here on the south end of the property, and it looks like they're removing them, so they want to make sure that there's an enhanced plantings or consider a fencing. There's no in-lot, parking lot trees or buffer plantings along the eastern edge, so there's nothing here, although there are some nice trees over on the Bass River Motel property. With 30 parking spaces shown for 27 units, the developer should outline measures to restrict the number of cars per tenant, as no on-street parking or parking in the buffer should be allowed along Pine Grove. We don't want people all of a sudden parking here or pulling in perpendicular and parking haphazardly with regard to that. And then just talking about street trees being a minimum 2.5 caliper, and then screening the transformer and the emergency gas generator, which is right here along Route 28. And then I think the biggest egregiousness is related to the architecture.
It's been terrible.
What I would highlight is this rear elevation is the elevation that's facing Route 28.
Oh, hold on. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
And
Where are we, Kathy?
Rear,
the rear,
bottom left.
bottom left.
Bottom left.
yeah,
So
bottom left.
not top left.
No, that is facing each other,
Right.
or facing the back of the other building, because
This is facing our Main Street.
Yeah.
this right here is facing Route 28.
And there's not anything
These
we can do about
are
that?
facing Pine Grove, these very boring
Right.
side.
But the top left is the most intriguing and interesting aesthetically, at least.
And that will not be very
Face
visible.
each other.
Yeah, that's right.
Each other.
Right, I know, I appreciate you bringing this up. Is there anything that can be done at this point in the process? Except
well-
for our comments, of course.
I said the proposed architecture is not Cape Cod style. The rear elevation and the planar side elevation are the ones facing the public roadways and not the front elevation, which has more architectural detail. Consider different materials, possible roof pitch, or more detailed cornice pediment, and improvements to the elevations facing the public way.
That's those pictures.
Third building in, yes, thank you. The third building in the rear of the property could be a two-story building to scale down the building as the project moves into the residential neighborhood. And then for reference, I gave pictures of, I'm just gonna go. I went on the green stacks.
It's really helpful that you provided those. Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that would be,
This is it. This is exactly it.
but that's not facing Route 28.
No,
That's
it's not.
facing each other, like you said.
Right, or the back, the back. And then, so this is this is the one that they did in Lowell, Massachusetts. It's on their project website, and you can see it. And then I went on aerial, and you
What
kind
time
of
was
see.
that, Lowell?
Lowell.
Lowell.
Great.
And you can see at least this has a porch and they're doing something. But these plain sides, they've tried to embellish it a little bit more with windows, but these are the plain sides that would be showing against Pine Grove. And what I did see is another project that they had, which is in Cambridge. And if you you could kind of see that they do have some opportunities for different types of roof. And maybe if you just took the top 1, 2, 3 stories, it looks maybe a little bit more like a bungalow or something that they might be able to make some improvements on. And so this is also a green stacks project.
Kathy, I found another one today in Hyannis, and I was going to send it to you, because I had a couple of the others.
Is it a
I sent
green
you in
stacks?
Hyannis. Green stack, too.
Okay.
And it looks very much like some of the others that I had sent the other day. I mean, there are a lot of options that are more attractive than this building from Green Stacks, so.
I think they built this elsewhere, this particular developer.
That one in Lowell is a carbon, I would,
That looks very,
Exactly.
is a carbon copy,
Yeah.
It's exactly
previous
it.
slide.
Yep.
That one, Madam Chair.
Ours would just be blue.
Literally
with
what we're
blues and
talking
grays.
about, except different colors.
they're at height
And then again, that is
restriction.
facing
That's the
each
issue
other
right
internally,
there.
not externally.
Peter, where did you find the ones in Hyannis?
I mean, Hyannis is going through a boom right now,
Oh,
so
yeah,
there's a lot of
yeah.
new projects out there, and some of the stuff I had in my files were a couple of Green Stack projects, so.
Yeah.
With hip roofs and different sort of designs that are more attractive. So it's possible.
Yeah.
But they're at 35 feet right now, which I believe is on these buildings, on the, the very,
Yeah, 35,
They can ask for a waiver from that, too.
that's where I'm going with it, to do some architectural something to this,
Oh, yeah, they are.
Hansard or something, just to dress it.
So part of the initial conversation with them, Kathy, was that the concern was they weren't going to find financing for a mixed-use project, right? So is this why maybe they're pivoting to just a strict residential project?
I really can't say.
They didn't, okay.
I'm sure that's why.
I think what they were finding is, I think there was some interest in an oyster bar because I think one of the Clearys has done that elsewhere. But then when they started realizing that they're not going to be able to have enough parking for everything on this tiny, tiny property, and I think that led them to,
I hope we'll have a chance to talk about that, because to me, of all the issues, that may be the number one. Is I appreciate the fact that there's now more possible year-round rentals for good folks to stay on Cape Cod. I totally am excited about it, and I like the mix of units, and that's awesome. But you can't look me in the eye and tell me that 1.1 spaces for 27 apartments is going to fly. It is absolutely a recipe for on-street, off-street,
right.
Cape Cod classic, let's park wherever the heck we want.
Right.
And I'm not casting any aspersions on anybody that hasn't even paid their first month's, last month's in security. But it's just the nature of our community, and I'm just going to say it this way, Madam Chair. I am disappointed in the lack of parking in this project, and I believe it will lead to unpleasantness. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, I will echo that, because there's, as Will just said, 30 parking spaces for 27 units.
Especially
is-
2 and 3. Originally, it was studios and ones. Now we're
right.
talking 2 and 3 bedrooms as well.
You know,
Sorry, Ken.
No, you're exactly right, Will. There's gonna be, 2 cars for every unit, they're gonna be parking all over the place. I know the project that earlier in South Yarmouth that we were concerned about fire access. When you get cars parked all on the side of the building and everything that's gonna happen, you're not gonna have enough parking with this project.
Yeah, I was concerned about that, and because I like to go into the data, I went to the American Community Survey and discovered that 55% of households have they have 2 or more cars, including a large percentage of single-person households. And so it really is, on the single-person households, 13.5% of them have 2 cars. And then, of course, it goes up from there. And so, I'm really I've always been all for walkable communities, and I looked at the census tract because it is one of the more walkable parts of Yarmouth. And it is true that in the census tract, the number of people with 2 or more cars goes down to 45% from 55% townwide. And also, renters are slightly less likely to have more cars than owners are. So I'm trying to look at mitigating circumstances, but it still seems way too low. The other thing is everybody has their pickup to go to the dump, and these people will have their trash collected, so they don't need that. But I still don't think that it's enough parking spaces. Is there no way to get that changed, or?
You can comment on it. I don't think it's going to make any particular change. I mean,
And the ZBA doesn't have any.
Yeah, they have a huge amount to say about it, absolutely.
And I think they'll.
say a lot about it, and they can even deny it,
Right.
but it would end up being
I'm not this.
appealed.
And good, I think it's about time we did have one of these appealed to see how well we stack
Yeah.
up against the rest of the Cape. Our numbers are very, very good, at least according to Mary. We were in pretty decent shape with the affordable housing program, thanks to Mary, she's awesome. If that's, we're the planning board. When this came up in front of us before, let's start with Jim. Jim made a point of saying the mature trees on that site needed to be saved.
Yep.
And I think a commitment was made that they would be saved. So that's number one. But as the planning board, the discussion, I think, at that point was the issue of more housing on Route 28. And what does that do to an economic development plan? I remember Peter Smith, Mike Stone, and I think Mark Forrest at one point said from the Board of Selectmen, they're very, very concerned about additional housing on Route 28 because that crowds out the opportunity for economic development. So that's one issue, the whole macro issue of putting more housing, and it's public housing, it's subsidized housing, it's not even market rate housing.
That's
issue
not
number.
true.
No, it's.
Anything that is not market rate is somehow subsidized. These are not
it is-
market rate housing. This is not,
25% are affordable, and the rest would be market rate.
the rest, it's subsidized. So it's not like you're building
subsidized?
million-dollar condos. It's not Stewart's project on South Street in Hyannis. Then the things that they're looking for waivers from are monumental in front of zoning. Setbacks is a big issue. Parking, huge issue. And all the comments here are quite accurate. Cars will be on the street. Trees now have become a huge issue, the issue that Jim brought up, and then we even talked about it on the site down by the Silver, where they took some tree does, they buffered the back. They want to take down trees. Then the style, it's not even Cape Cod style. And to think that on our main street, and that's an area you've got, across the street, you've got a couple of really nice restaurants, and I think you've got the Nicanello, you've got the Dairy Queen. That's a fairly active, in fact, it's a very active strip in the summertime. And you're gonna have this facing 28? This is gonna be Yarmouth's introduction to tourists? Is this project with the back of these buildings face 28? I think the whole, I can't think of anything redeemable. It's overbuilt. The site only allows for 23 rental units. They want to build 27. They don't have enough parking. The design is hideous. This materials are hideous. Then they want to, relief on the setbacks, they want relief on trees, they want relief on parking. This is not the kind of best foot forward for housing in the town of Yarmouth, in addition to the location. So that's I see nothing redeemable here.
Kathy?
I just think, I always try in my site plan review comments to provide comments that I think they might actually be able to accomplish. It's totally up to you guys if you want to make, a letter stating all of these things that Susan just went through, but that doesn't give them anything that they can, then they could possibly change to make it better. So providing comments about things like.
About the roof?
Like even
kinds
just
of
putting
things?
like a little, you see how I have the porch, like just the overhang here? Even if you put a fake one over here and had made it look like a little patio or a porch or something, that would make it look
Facing
better.
28. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that, you're talking about the
This
side
is
that's
facing
facing.
28.
Right.
I think they can do something to the
Right, to
backside
make
to make
it-
it look better.
Right.
And the whole side here, it's flat. It's all flat, and I don't even know what this material is. And I said, maybe
not
you want to
flat.
look at different materials. Maybe even
The
if you-
style is awful. I mean,
is 41
this
spaces.
might work in more of an urban area, but this is Cape Cod, and that's a.
changing the
it's a-
architecture, I think, would make a big difference, and you might be able to.
required to have
And I mean, if
41.
Peter has some examples of some screen
right
stacks
there in front.
projects in Hyannis that we can say, oh, look, they're doing this in Hyannis, why can't you do it here? Then there could be some push and pull with the ZBA of saying, make it look better. And we want this condition and this restriction that you have to have some type of an agreement with your tenants. They can't park there. And if people are parking there, they're going to be towed.
Got to be put in the leases
Right, obviously.
and enforced.
But there needs to be some mechanism in our zoning special permit that says you shall do this so that we can get them for zoning violations,
Right.
not just for them having tenant violations. So I guess my point would be, if you want to write a comment letter,
put
what
this
what
plan
can we
this
do
way?
that might make it better? Because I think it's a
You-
40B.
You'll have to go a
it's-
long way to make this better. You've got
This is
setback
so much better
issues,
than what we saw.
but it's still
It's
not-
better than the first time around.
It is, but that's never an excuse to accept it, in the sense that you're.
We're not saying that.
No, I know, but it's like saying, okay, it's a little bit better, it's better than what was there, and that, I think, that kind of thinking, we have to stop.
I understand,
but at
except that
least there's
Kathy's
nothing
also
here.
trying to give you the practical side of, it's one thing to just say, we don't like it, it's horrible, here's all the reasons why, when it is a little bit of a runaway train now that we can't stop.
Yes, you
So the
can.
question, okay, I'm just talking about it from our point of view.
Well, we're the planning board, I mean, we're the
We
planning
cannot
board.
stop this project from the planning board's point
No,
of
but the
view.
zoning can.
Okay, but we're sitting here at a planning board meeting, so I'm,
We should represent what the
I
planning
understand,
board has
except that
talked
what-
about for years, about
I think that-
upgrading Route 28.
I think the appropriate way, Madam Chair, is if we have comments, let's give them to Kathy and let's present it to the ZBA board. At least let them know our concerns.
Would you want to do it as a cohesive board on the next meeting, or do you want to provide individual comments?
What is the timing on this, Kathy? When is this going to be?
It's going before
25th.
them on the 25th. The hard copies of the packets are going out on the 15th, but if you have a letter, it can be emailed to the different ZBA members. So we could talk about it at the next meeting if you wanted to, after the ZBA and the deliberations and all the other things you guys have going on.
I think there's an opportunity to do, Susan, exactly what you're talking about. And there's an opportunity, as Kathy is saying, from a practical point of view, to also ask them to do some practical things. I think both things can be accomplished.
But you're
If you don't agree, then that's totally okay, and maybe you should write something on your own that has no practical impact in terms of what they could do. I totally respect
You're
that.
right.
I'm just saying that I believe it may look better, and Madam Chair will obviously defer to her, that if it does come from all of us,
Right.
or me, as opposed to just 4 people thought this, but 1 people
Because
thinks.
the concept of making it better is not attractive to me. I don't think it should be there at all.
Okay.
And I think it should be rejected and let them sue us. And we can make a case that, we have a long-term vision for Route 28. The planning board has talked about this now for years and years and years and years. And it's wrapped around, we had conversations about this, as we develop Matakees, as you develop the site across from the town, and the need for good economic development on Route 28. This does not meet that testing. in any
You
fashion.
could go to the hearing on the 25th and stand up
Right.
during the
Yeah,
meeting and say
unfortunately,
everything you just
I'm out of
said.
town that
Okay,
day,
sorry, or you could provide the letter.
unfortunately.
Sorry.
I'd like to,
But I'd write a letter.
I just want to clarify that, a couple of things. I don't think the consensus of the planning board is that housing is a bad thing on 28. I want to make that very clear. I don't think any of us feel that housing is a bad thing for 28, except for you.
I think additional housing. I think additional housing on 28 should be seriously
But
examined.
the majority of the planning board members feel that housing, well done, can be an important piece of the look and the vibrancy of Route 28. We just hired some consultants where we have mixed use, which was
Mixed use is
a really,
different.
this is not mixed use.
Right.
Maybe you would have liked it better if it were.
Definitely, it's
Perfect,
commerce.
okay.
And it came to us as that.
Right. But what I do think is important is that if we can, get Kathy our individual thoughts. I think Kathy has capsulized, for me anyway, her comments, and the comments of all of the members of the site review capture everything I'm concerned about. And if that were to become a note from the planning board, I would say plagiarize the whole thing.
Well, there's also one more very practical thing, Madam Chair, under the water and wastewater section, where I haven't heard this yet at the RAC meetings, but there's an engineer from DPW who said there may be a moratorium on excavation on 28 after the final pave. That's kind of practical. That's a practical concern. When I don't know when they would possibly get a permit to actually even start this project. Would be well after the fall of 2025.
They were made aware of that, and they were going to, I think, move quickly on that. I don't know if they
But-
did or not.
So, I mean, yeah,
So,
It's true for
Yeah.
everybody.
yeah.
so that would be,
That ship is sailing.
if you may, if you would like to submit comments directly to Kathy, please do. But from my view, I think the comprehensiveness of the notes from the site plan review capture all of my concerns, including those things especially from the building department, on where they're going to have to seek, some support from ZBA. On all of these restrictions, they're going to have to get some help from the ZBA.
You have to
They're gonna get
waivers.
relief.
I was
They're
going
going
to
to get
say,
relief, they're going to have to get some waivers.
And they're waivers, it's not even a special permit, it's a
very
waiver.
long list.
It's a comfort.
So, if that's okay, why don't we leave it at that, if that's okay with everybody?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And Peter, to the degree that you feel that you can offer Kathy what other stacks, projects you're familiar with in terms of what they look like, that would be helpful as well. It's always good to have good ammunition if we're going to go in that direction.
Picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Kathy, do you have the unit mix for this project, number
Yeah,
of,
it's in here.
I mean, I know they're,
It is. Hold on, I did highlight
The
it.
number of units?
the number of bedrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a breakout.
Hold on. It is, here we go, unit mix.
Oh, okay.
9 studios, 9 one-bedrooms, 6 2 and 3 3, and it lists the square footage as well. Yep, it's on that page.
And the other question, Kathy, I see workforce housing used differently in every town, and sometimes some ZBA boards or planning boards will use it in a decision and say, limited to workforce housing. And then I'll have to call and say, what does that mean? Because do you have a definition? I mean, I don't know if it's in project summary here, workforce housing, so I don't know if it
No.
has a definition that you attach to it.
I think Mary might have one where it might be between like 80% to 120% median area income. But I think they're just calling it workforce housing because I think they want to rent to workers.
Well, who wrote the project summary then? Is that coming from them?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I just think if we use it or the town uses it, we need to know what it means.
Right.
So that when we see it in
And the
something
ZBA
that comes from, right.
Sure, sorry. I didn't interrupt.
Because we're going to be hearing it a lot. in the next 1 to 3 years, or maybe it's 2 to 5 years, depends on what time frame we're
See what
looking
you
at.
did there. See what you did, Peter. Just holding us accountable.
My feet are so burned from being held to the fire.
Oh, boy.
Okay, any other comments on this agenda item? Okay. Mattakee's property update.
No, from last
Okay.
time. We're still meeting on September 11th, next Thursday.
Moving on, may I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes of August 27th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any committee updates? Susan?
Just a library, and it's an important library committee update. A week ago Tuesday, at the Board of Selectmen meeting, during the public comment period, a former resident, I didn't remember the name, but we lived here at the same time, but I think her last name was Grafton or Trafton.
Nancy Trafton?
Yep. Got up and mentioned she had lived here for a long time, brought her kids up, and served on many boards and commissions in the town. One being the, I think she was on the original Open Space Committee, or very close to it.
The planning board.
Planning board, she was on
And the planning board and various boards. And she raised some concerns about the use of the Simkin site for the library, invoking Article 97, thinking that it might be protected use. And her statements, if you have time, I would recommend you go and listen to her presentation. She also submitted it in writing, so someone in the town hall's got it, and made a very good case that additional work had to be done because she thought it was protected for the playground. At least part of it was protected for the playground. So that was Tuesday night. Thursday night at the library committee, the project, which I represent, the planning committee, the project building committee. Kelly Sears Jacobson came and asked to speak during, we have a little public comment period like we do here. She is the great niece of Joshua Sears, the family that owned the site. And she gave a very good presentation about the history of the site and went right back to whenever it was, 21, when the Sears family bought it. And she was also very concerned about the use, taking that open space, because it was her understanding, and certainly from her knowledge of her granduncle and the whole family involvement with open space, that he would not be supporting taking open space to put the library. Regardless of the merits of the library, it was the open space. So bottom line is, things could have slowed down, obviously, and I believe that the Board of Selectmen made a decision to have a complete legal review of the title, the need of the title. So that's one thing.
Don't you have only 90 days left to finalize things?
I think Bob Whitnow said it would probably take 4 months, which would bring us up to Christmas. Meanwhile, I think the filing date for the Phase 2 is the beginning of December.
The library commissioners.
Yeah, right. So they would somehow miss, I believe. Now, it may not take 4 months. That was Bob's estimate. But the filing date for the state grant is a hard date, and they don't grant extensions.
Then you missed the year.
Yeah,
Missed
they
the
don't
cycle.
grant extensions. So that's sort of where it is. We did finalize the contract for the architect, and they're very, very good. Part of the conversation Thursday night was, are there some alternative? Is there anything alternative at that site? So they looked at the Bridgewater building site. He's going to do some preliminary estimates to see how much it would cost to sort of rehab that site. He felt fairly confident, based on his knowledge of rehabbing older buildings. It was loaded with asbestos, not energy efficient, blah, 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 blah.
ADA
And so-
accessibility.
Yeah, exactly. And sort of said, it will cost you more to rehab than it would to build new. And then I, of course, brought up the issue that if we did that, I saw that as a cardinal change in the whole competition, because we were going for new construction. That's a 2-story building. West Yarmouth was ruled out because it was only 1 story, and I said, I just think that's a slippery slope, just because you'll end up with someone in West Yarmouth also filed a lawsuit. So anyway, bottom line is, we're still working on some things. The contractor, the architect, is going to go forward with as much as he can get done without impacting, making hard decisions about the site selection. In the meantime, everyone's waiting for this legal review of the deed and the title. So, of course, ancillary conversations, Mattakese is still alive, maybe we should start planting a flag over there because we may not have, and we want to keep the money. So it became, as you can imagine, extremely muddy, because they don't want to, the library people obviously do not want to lose the money. If they can get something, if they can pull something together. So the earlier we find out about the site, the better off we'll be. But it's extremely complex now.
You did mention, too, that the rec plan mentioned that it was restricted, limited to playground use.
Both Nancy and Kelly believed that was the Article 97, that somehow the land was, certainly Kelly believed, that the donation of that site to the town, and there's no question about ownership. I think the ownership of the town is pretty clear. It's the use of the land.
Right.
That they believed that it was to be an open a playground, not necessarily the way we look at a playground with swings and all that kind of stuff, but open space.
Right.
Because she said back when they did donate it, which I think was 1931, it was a ball field. It was really open space. Kids played tag and ran around, and they didn't have the equipment kind of concept that we have now. So her belief was, but again, they couldn't find, part of the problem is none of this, the deed stuff is written down. It's the title stuff that's very, very, very,
That would be attached to the deeds.
very lacking. Yeah, it's very lacking. And that's what Wittenauer said, this has been something that they've talked about forever. We got to get to the bottom of it, blah, 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 blah. So they're going to commit to having a review done of the entire deal.
Title search, which takes time.
But if you get a chance, read Grafton's comments, because they're very well laid
That
out.
was at the select board,
That was
not at the library,
No,
not
that was at the
building
select board.
committee.
But her comments were passed out at the library committee meeting.
I received those as trustee over
good.
at
Okay.
the South Yarmouth Library Association. I can send those to you, Kathy.
What is that?
This write-up by this woman. who-
I've seen it. I don't know who gave it to me, but
Yeah.
I've
Be allowed
I
to
got-
then forward it on to us?
you want-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a
she can
public,
forward it
it's
on,
a
yeah.
public
If
document.
you
yeah.
have it, forward it to me.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
I don't know whether I got a hard copy of it. I don't remember.
I got a copy.
And then I'll forward it.
Any other correspondence or staff updates, Kath?
We are going to be giving a presentation at One Cape about the Parkers River landing. Kind of as a successful reuse, repurposing story. And then they're going to be doing for people who sign up, what they call a mobile workshop, which just means site visit. It took me a little while to figure that out, to go there. We did have a site visit with interim Secretary of Economic Development, Strobla, a couple weeks ago. I don't know if I mentioned that to you. It was great to actually see it. They were very excited about it. And Ellen Spula from the Economic Seaport Council came, and it was really good. So that's being done, and then we're also going to be giving a presentation through Mass DOT about resiliency, about the Parkers River with Beta Group at their Moving Forward 2025 seminar.
So we are on the agenda for the One Cape. Oh, okay.
I am.
That's at the end of the month, right?
It's on the 17th,
Soon.
so right before the
Wait,
ZBA.
The same day?
The same day.
And then you get to roll right into the public hearing?
Roll right into
Oh,
the public
boy.
hearing.
Can I, are you familiar with espresso? Also, can you please give us just a quick timeline update on the Parkers River landing and where it stands and then where
you. I was gonna
where
ask
we're
that.
going? Oh, what Ken said.
What Will said. I was going to ask it.
Jinx.
My understanding is they got some delays. It took them a little while to get the building permit compiled completely. So that delayed them a little bit. But my understanding is it's still November 2025. The rest of the park is almost pretty much done. It's really just the surface
Like, I
paving.
can launch a kayak in November. See, this is why I bring up practical, like, this is what people ultimately really only care about.
Yeah. The last I heard, yes, but I don't
Yeah, when's it going to open? That's the
When
question.
can I take my kids? When can I put the kayak in the water?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that in an accusatory way. I'm just saying that, like, when people come to a public hearing, they're like, this is all great. Now, when can the guy sell his lobsters at his house?
Right.
That's what they want to know.
I would think if the
I don't
weather's
know whether the
good.
contract got extended is the only reason I hesitate.
I
It
see.
was previously in November. I don't know whether the delays at the restroom have
Maybe at a
delayed it
future
further.
meeting, you could share an
Yeah.
update.
You think they golf in November? I mean, if the weather, I would think if the weather's decent, why not put a kayak out there?
Absolutely.
Boardwalk
do.
is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And the right materials were chosen. It was not cheap. It's now that Ipe hardwood.
Made a big difference.
And the rails bow out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a full 6 foot wide. And then we have the cable railings at
Yes.
the overlooks and everything. And then there's these really cool benches, and they put these little angles into it. They did a
The
fabulous
design is
job.
stunning.
And the playground is in and all that?
Playground's in, the ship's in,
Nice.
Cool.
the slides in, yeah.
Exciting.
Yep.
Well, when can I put my kayak in? Kidding, not
I
me.
don't know.
Hey, many others would like to know.
Yeah, I'd have to talk to Amanda.
Madam Chair, just a quick update
Yes.
on capital budget. They had their first meeting last week. I was away, so I was not able to attend. This week, we were supposed to have a meeting, it got delayed to next week, but we're actually setting up meetings with all the town department heads and starting to go through their capital plans. One thing for not attending the meeting last week, I got punished with now I'm vice chair of the committee. So,
Hey,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
so
You're a heartbeat away.
yeah, thanks. So it's moving forward. Sandy's doing a great job. She really is. She is
Amazing, amazing person.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Last 1 year.
I do have one question, and Peter, I'm not sure if you can answer, but I noticed there was a public notice, since I do still get the hard copy of the Cape Cod Times. The CEDC Tourism Revenue Preservation Fund is out publicly, and the amount,
Events, 40,000 for events.
40,000.
40,000 for events, that's it?
Used to be over 100.
Okay, that's what,
The second round. This is, I think, is to allow
The unspent.
for things like the Christmas stroll to apply and those types of things. It's not, they didn't, my knowledge, it's not truncated down. I think this is the second round.
Is that fiscal
So,
2020?
I-
I'm sorry, Madam
Yeah,
Chair.
it is fiscal '26.
That means till July?
So there's already, my apologies, there's already been one.
I thought so, and I thought it
Yeah.
was being specifically redone.
Trying to remember, there were some unspent funds, so I believe that's what that
okay.
might be. I didn't read it or see
Okay.
that, but
So the 2026 St. Patrick's
So
Day
this is
Parade
a-
money's already
that's
been...
different. That's
That's
the
that's
select
with the
committee.
board, that's.
Right, that's
select board.
changed, right.
Right.
So is the extra funds, that's no year money? Is that holdover from '25?
Well, did it said
I
26?
think it said 26, Peter,
So
I'm
that
pretty
would be,
sure.
that would be this year. That would be current.
So the fiscal year starts September 1st. It started,
It started
July
July 1st.
July 1, yeah.
So, that could, I don't know how they're doing it.
I don't know how
what
they're
that is.
I don't know.
I haven't heard
I
anything
would-
since.
think it's no year money, so if you don't get it all spent in 1 year, you can use it in another year.
Yeah.
But that may not be true. That may not be.
I had thought it was that the pot had shrunk significantly.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But also, they need to reconstitute the board, Madam
Well,
Chair.
yeah, they need, they need a
There was-
committee.
There were funds that were already allocated out of that, so that might be what's left over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's allocating, Madam Chair? The select board?
I don't know.
Because if there's no committee.
It's Peter.
Go
Peter and
call
one other person,
Another
right?
Peter, yeah.
It's a dictatorship.
Two Peters are going to vote on the 40,000.
And he was actually voted as chairman when he missed the meeting, so.
Moral of the story.
Never miss a meeting.
Or at least come in by Zoom, Ken.
I was in Maine.
Everyone resigned and he was voted chairman because he wasn't there.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy. Okay, moving on. Upcoming meetings, Kathy.
Well, we have our fun September 17th public hearing on the zoning amendments. And again, the deliberation on that and maybe possible recommendation. Like I say, I haven't heard back about the, and then the October 1st is the public hearing on local comprehensive plan. Maybe just a brief conversation about that. I was planning on giving the same presentation that I gave to the select board. It was like 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it was fairly comprehensive.
Yeah,
About the LCP presentation?
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was excellent.
All right, so we'll just kind of rinse and repeat, update and whatever. Okay.
Susan, you and Deirdre were there, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was very good.
Yeah, I thought that'd be fine.
No stone was left unturned. I mean, there was nothing, every possible thing they wanted to know about, we had an answer for, or Kathy had an answer for.
So hopefully we'll be on the October 7th Select Board agenda for zoning, so they can double see that and hopefully agree with us. And then a regular meeting on the 15th, and then we got to go back to the Select Board on the 21st for the LCP, and then any zoning. The one thing, the September 12th is the deadline for articles. I have the zoning one, but I haven't written the LCP one. I'm just going to put in a draft version of that.
Put a placeholder in.
Yeah. It's not very involved, it's just,
Isn't it just a statement to accept?
yeah.
Right.
It's like 3 sentences or something. And town council probably will have some say in that, but I just remembered, the draft articles are due on 9/12, and then the only one I don't have is the LCP one. We'll just submit the ones we have for zoning.
So we'll, whatever you put forward, Kathy, just share with us on the 17th. That'd be fine. Anything else?
Nope, I think that's it.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Jeez.
All in favor?
Aye.